Years had passed and there was still no apparent sign of the wizard Bibidi on Earth. This hadn't stopped the Order of the Dragon from further training though. In the mind of its many members, the best thing about it is the fact that the event had brought them together. For Chaozu, it was still a weird conundrum. His mind was often on Cell, sealed and asleep within the 6 green Dragon Balls. He wondered if the artificial dragon was getting stronger with him. After all, the power of the dragon was supposed to be tied to the power of the Guardian. On the other hand, Cell was already quite a formidable force and just a formidable opponent. Maybe his draconic powers weren't tied to his raw strength, still, it was something that was tending to weigh on his mind from time to time. Even with each of the members safekeeping one of the orbs, Chaozu always had that ominous suspicion that they hadn't seen the last of Cell. Luckily, it seemed that Shenron had hidden the final ball in a secret place that was unknown to every member of the Order. For precaution's sake. He shared that thought with Krillin during one of the bigger training sessions, something that his monk friend had also found reassuring. Well, surely we have a lot of pretty dangerous stuff here on Earth, huh? Dragon Balls? 2 sets actually, and now this Majin Buu thing? He said out loud.
Well, I mean, technically that thing was here long before Dragon Balls,
said Chaozu, dodging Krillin's attacks. You know what? That's really true. Sometimes I wish that we didn't know much about it. What we heard back on the lookout, real chilling.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be prepared if we hadn't, if the Supreme Kai didn't warn us, so I don't really know if that would have been better,
the little guardian of the green Dragon Ball said. Well, at least the martial arts tournament's coming. That'll be a nice distraction. Something that'll allow us to entertain ourselves in these trying times, right? Krillin smirked. Just trying to bring back the good old days?
Yeah, just don't make me do the math again, please.
They both laughed and were able to forget about the weight of the world, even just for a short time. Now, speaking of the weight of the world, some of the Z Fighters had recently noticed an activity from an heroic individual calling themselves the Great Saiyan Man. I mean, there weren't many candidates for that, and one individual in particular was not happy about this. Not happy at all.
I can't believe you'd do such a thing behind our backs, Gohan. Something might have happened to you.
Chi-Chi was scolding her son.
Sorry, Mom. Listen, those goons can't really hurt me. I wanted to do something good for the world, That's it.
The teenager's head was looking at his feet, but still kind of feeling a sense of injustice.
Some people risk much more without having all of that. All these powers,
There was a pause, and Chi-Chi looked toward her husband for help, trying to make Gohan see sense.
Go easy on him. Besides, you always said to him that we should help people in need, right?
Goku put a hand on her shoulder.
Yeah, opening the door for someone handling heavy bags, helping an old lady across the street, or...
Chi-Chi sighed.
Listen, I know this is a part of your nature, I get it. I'm just mad that you didn't tell us. Sorry, Mom. I thought that you would just get mad. I kinda got inspired by Videl risking her safety on a daily basis herself. It's not like it hurts my grades or anything. I'm top of the class anyway,
Gohan said with a sad look and then a smile at that last part. Top of the class really appealed to Chi-Chi. She wanted to say something, then there was a moment of realization.
Wait, Videl? Daughter of Hercule?
She looked at him.
Yeah, she's really nice, Mom. Gohan trains with her a lot. We were teaching her flying the other day, me, Trunks, and Gohan. In fact, he's seeing her later today.
Goten chimed in, thinking that this would help his older brother. It would not.
Goten?
There was a hint of panic on Gohan's face, but Chi-Chi's expression began to change as the cogs in her brain began to turn, and the worried frown soon became a rather mischievous smile.
You can always invite her back here. We would love to meet your friends someday, right, Goku?
She poked her husband with an elbow.
But what? Yeah, it's always meant to make more friends.
The head of the family was oblivious, as usual.
Yeah, that's right. We're friends. Good friends.
Gohan's face was red again.
All right, son. If I see your grades dropping, then it's bye-bye Great Saiyan Man. Is that clear?
She gave him a stern look.
Yes, Mom.
Gohan gave her a salute.
Now go. You don't want to keep Videl waiting. And Please wear something nice, will you?
The older son of Chi-Chi gulped loudly, and then proceeded to fly upstairs to change into something more elegant.
Why is he so nervous about his new friend?
Goku scratched his head, which caused Chi-Chi to sigh loudly, but also chuckle a bit.
I'll explain to you later, dear.
The Ronin's journey was supposed to be a lonely one. Yajirobe didn't choose this lifestyle to be surrounded by people. They more often than not tended to be a bother. Even though he liked the Z fighters when it all was said and done, the other members of the Order and even the students too, he needed some me time from time to time. After all, you aren't compelled to share your food if there isn't anyone around you, thinking outside the box. His personal branch of the Order, Way of the Sword, as he named it, was rather niche, though surprisingly, it seemed like Vegeta's son Trunks, that's the present Trunks by the way, really seemed compelled by it. Yajirobe shouldn't have been surprised. It seemed like this particular instance was predestined in some way. He didn't really consider himself some kind of a philosopher or deep thinker, but always thought that he possessed the wisdom of the land well enough, and a bit of that streetwise edge that most of his friends lacked. He had that savvy that could come in handy one day. And surprisingly, his harsh but fair demeanor was something that had proven to be quite interesting, or even endearing at times within certain cultures, when he was traveling around giving lessons. At this precise moment, he was driving his car away from Giran's village, where he had been teaching some of the Giras how to use swords, and he had to admit that they certainly knew how to feast and have a good time, at least in the culinary sense. The pterodactyls had given him a really decent supply of food, even for his own standards. But a Ronin should keep his mind sharp, and something looked rather suspicious for the man upon his journey. Something weird. It looked like a small white structure, but Yajirobe knew these wastes like the back of his hands. It wasn't there a month ago, and the ground around it also looked weird. He parked his car just to walk a little closer, to take a safe look at it from behind a rock, when the doors to the structure opened up, and two men walked out. They were very pale. One was thin, the other muscular, complete opposites. Both seemed unusually veiny in a rather creepy way to boot. Also, their foreheads were adorned with an M symbol. Wasn't that the symbol of this evil wizard that the Supreme Kai told them about, Yajirobe thought? Well, he didn't have the Ronin much time to ponder when a third figure walked out, and this one's presence surely worried the Ronin. It was a tall, reddish pink-skinned individual in blue clothes with an impressive and very sexy cape. This was that king of the demon realm he heard about. But before Yajirobe could decide if he wanted to quickly withdraw, the deep voice of this individual spoke. "You there, behind the rock," Deborah smiled. "Show yourself." The Ronin cursed silently and kept his hand on the hilt of his blade. Then he walked out very slowly. "What do you think you are looking for here, The king of the demons tilted his head and gestured to the two men to fly away, completely ignore the presence of Yajirobe. Nothing. I was just, out picking mushrooms," the rotund man uttered. "Mushrooms, I see. And did you find a lot of them in this desert?" Deborah slowly hinted, walking toward him. "I am not a big fan of spies of any kind. Are you a fool that got curious, or did someone send you?" The Demon King appeared just before Yajirobe, and he knew that escape was no longer an option. Blasted, stupid curiosity. Korin told him a couple of times about that thing with it, and the cat and he had always dismissed it. "Well, King Deborah, I am a Ronin, master of the sword. I was merely traveling nearby and saw your weird outhouse. I just wanted to check it out." Deborah's eyes shone brightly. There was a spark of intrigue in them. "Sword, you say?" The Demon King extended his hand, only for a massive sword to appear from it. "Ah, it is also nice to meet a fellow enthusiast so far from my home. Care to entertain me with a spar?" He smiled menacingly. Yajirobe then unsheathed his katana. If this was the way he was gonna go, then this is the way he was gonna go. Hopefully Shenron would be watching. "I'll let you have the first move, Ronin," Deborah said. Things like that spoken by your opponent were always a bad sign. Still, Even though he was lazy and oftentimes unserious, Yajirobe still had his honor to uphold, and his instincts took the better of him as he started a series of strikes which were deflected by Dobura's blade. Initially, it even seemed that he was having the demon on the offensive as he was quite fast, faster perhaps than his opponent anticipated, but it was not anything breaking the mood of the dreadful king. He was enjoying this experience, not perturbed one iota.
Oh my! I took Earthlings for a band of weaklings, and yet one of the first ones I encounter actually knows how to wield a blade. I am slightly impressed. Slightly.
The steel danced loudly as the blades crashed in a rather spectacular duel. Yajirobe was aware that his opponent was prolonging the inevitable. It really seemed like he longed for this for quite some time. So maybe at least he could try and gather some information before he croaked.
So, Mr. Demon King, why are you listening to some weird wizard guy? You seem quite powerful yourself with that blade.
Yajirobe took a defensive position, preparing for his next attack.
You seem to know a lot for a Ronin. I assume then that someone did send you. Master Bibidi has a vision unlike any entity I have met. He expanded my power and is going to unleash the unspeakable terrors on the sad little universe.
Dobura grinned, breaking through Yajirobe's defenses. He wasn't out of the fight just yet. He was enjoying himself too much.
So, if we're playing open cards, what will happen to you once he frees that Buu thing? I will be ruling at my master's side, with Majin Buu under our control. No one is going to question our authority.
The king smiled widely.
Oh, you sure about that? I mean no disrespect, Dobura, but I've been told that this Buu monster is the most terrible thing in space or something. For now, you're just taking its place. Why would he need you later on? Think about that.
This seemed to irritate Dobura, who suddenly changed his mood toward the opponent and growled at him.
What? How dare you? I am the valuable servant of... You used to be a king of all the demons. That thing on your forehead? He just controls you, man. You're a puppet, man. And he will discard you once he's done with you. I've seen this with a lot of bad guys in my time. They all do.
The next cut from Dobura's sword drew blood.
I think I'm done with listening to your filthy mouth, Earthling. You have outlived your usefulness and entertainment value. Well, one day that might be you.
Yajirobe looked at the sky, waiting for any sign from Shenron, and then the Demon King just spat on him.
Ew, gross! Wait, what?
The Ronin didn't finish the sentence because his whole body had turned to stone. Piece by piece, he started to petrify, and rather quickly, he was a statue. Dobura grimaced, trying to get rid of the words that had been spoken from this fat man's head. Then, suddenly, he saw one thing that had not been petrified. It was on a chain, hidden within Yajirobe's shirt. He pulled it off, damaging the statue in the process. In his hand was a familiar orb with a star, but this one was tiny, with a green star.
Dobura's eyes widened. What exactly is this trinket?
Shenron tried to focus, he really did, as his mind was dancing. Why couldn't he see Yajirobe? Something bad must have happened. And to add salt to injury, something was keeping him from locating him. Did the attack already start without him knowing? Had Bibidi outsmarted him despite all of their preparation? There was some sort of dark presence that suddenly appeared in his world, he was sure about that. But somehow, he couldn't pinpoint it. Whatever magic was responsible for that, it was as dangerous as the Supreme Kai had foretold.
Mr. Popo, we need to call for backup and tell Lord Shin that Bibidi has arrived.
A Dragon Ball. So tiny, so small. He could simply crush it in his hand, but could it be... Did that backwater world have Namekians? If so, then the problems of his master were gone. He could simply gather the full set and then ask whatever dragon they would summon to awaken Majin Buu. He would be rewarded if he had managed to do it without too much bloodshed or effort. Suddenly, he heard a soft voice in his head. It wasn't belonging to his master. it was someone else's. Whoa, whoa, don't get so hasty, Your Highness, said the voice.
Who are you?
Dabura looked around nervously.
More spies?
No, no. I am merely the prisoner of the Dragon Balls, and as your instinct tells you, I could fulfill your wish if you gathered all 7. 5 of them are in the hands of this one's friends. The final one, well, that's going to be a little tricky.
So, I will just eliminate all of them. And then what? Free you for some kind of wish?
2 wishes, in fact. It's your lucky day. Also, you have to avoid Saiyans, seriously. They are stronger than you. You are not prepared for what they have here. And also, there is an Earthling, one that you cannot kill. If you do so, the balls stop working. I am not the one who makes the rules, by the way.
You speak a lot. How am I supposed to know that you're not setting a trap upon me?
Oh, well, King Dabura, I kind of hate it here. I kind of like the cut of your jib, though. Me and you are quite alike. Also, I can tell what you really want, and we could get it for you.
Awakening Majin Buu would make my master most pleased.
Oh, Your Highness! Cell's voice laughed in his head. I am not talking about something that annoying wizard has implanted into your tiny little mind. Do try to remember who you are, won't you? Try to remember what you really want. This fatso was right about one thing. Bibidi is using you, and will probably discard you at the first sign of asking. But together we can get you what you truly desire. And for the first time in years, Dabura had a thought that was his own.
Tertian Oculus.
And that is the end of Act 3.